Now we are live for episode 92 of Candid Conversations. This will be syndicated on Liquid Fire Radio and is playing live via Restream right now. I have the multi-award winning talented creative known as Sean Ceasar in the building, and they say render unto Caesar what is his. So let us give him some time to shine right now. My dude looks like he's coming to us live from the street.
Yeah, I'm out here, bro. I'm out here. You see it?
Out here. So that's what's up. Oh man.
Yeah.
So how you doing? What was up to what'd you get into today? Let's walk through the let's walk in the life of Sean
Oh
Ceasar.
snap! A day in the life. A day in the life. Today was a day where I wanted to actually just keep my phone on silent, and I do that a great deal of the days because like when I'm working, I don't like people or just anything like disrupting my train of thought. So today was just a lot of editing because I had a wedding that I shot yesterday.
Okay.
And also did some product photography for these electric can openers and also a commercial for them. So like I recorded video. I also did photo for that, and then put out a couple quotes. Some people wanted me to do some video and photography for their events on 30, and another one to the actor and demo reel. So I'm firing down many different avenues in any given day, man, and always just trying to stay busy, creative.
I thought I was busy until I heard that.
You know, it can be good. It can be good, but at times it can be like so busy that like I'm like, man, I just wish I had an assistant to kind of like wrangle it in because I don't have the opportunity. Look how long we've been trying to talk, man. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta set aside time. Yeah.
This has been in the works for a couple of weeks, if not months. But I appreciate and understand the hustle and bustle of the creative behind the scenes, especially when you are the creative behind the scenes. Like you're the one making it happen. You kind of have to be like an octopus in a sense where, you know what I mean? You got the AV and then you got the graphics and you got you got all those bases covered.
Yeah.
So, I hear you loud and clear on that. So thank you for taking the time right now, especially in the midst of all this hustle and bustle.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So yeah, man. So talk to us. What we're doing a feature on you in the next issue of Culture Shock magazine. I have received that information. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So just to give a tidbit for the viewers before we get to that, tell us a little bit about what got you into this realm of life.
Well, like if we go back to like they were talking like before like 18 years old, like 16, 17, like I used to like doing like show promotions and stuff like that. I was very like big into the hip hop scene and stuff like that. Even now, I still like if you were to go back to my Instagram and read the quote, the actual captions on the post, there's a lot of rhyming that's going on there. And it's just something that I enjoy doing. And it just comes with, I don't know if it's a territory, stuff like that. Like I like beatboxing, all that stuff. So it naturally manifested itself in like live performances. And so I started meeting, when I was coming of age, like in my teenage years, I was meeting a lot of artists from the Hamilton and Niagara kind of region and still tied in with Toronto. But I started a online forum where people could get on there and type their battle raps before, this is like even kind of a little bit before MySpace was really even doing things, you know what I mean? So people could just get onto a forum and just write their battle raps and, go to school and be like, hey, read that. That's right. That's you, son. And then after that, I started getting some artists that would like hit me up and say, hey, you know what? Like, I like the flyer, for instance, that you did for that show. Where'd you get it done? And I was like, oh, I did it myself. And at the time, I was using my version of Photoshop that was hacked. So like people come to me and say, hey, can you design this from here, design that? But then they were always like, they couldn't understand, or it was more difficult for me to have them understand that their photo needed to be like a certain resolution in order for me to be able to even transpose it to like a medium that could be printed out, right? So they would send me something that they took with their Motorola Razr or like their phone, and that quality was questionable at best back then, you know what I mean? Let alone now. Yeah. So I ended up getting some money together and getting my first camera was a Nikon D80. And after that, I just started like doing some photo shoots for people for free, just to kind of like put them on, see like this is what it could or should or would be. And so with that, and then like my little hack crack version of Photoshop, I just started forging my way into the industry, and everything has just kind of been like brick on top of brick on top of brick. So if somebody's been like, hey, yo, can you do this? Do you think that you could do this? I'm like, yeah. And then I go home and I'm like, no, got to figure it out. And if it wasn't for the if it wasn't for the internet at the time when it came about, I probably wouldn't have been it wouldn't have moved as fast as it did to where it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just what it's been, man. It's just been like learning things and then just stacking one talent on top of another and sharing it, man. I love that. I love the idea of just creative expression, being able to share with others what you've been gifted.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, I want to extend. I've reflected on information or the sharing of that information, even where it came to the your feedback on the magazine, on the Culture Shock magazine, and
Right.
when I heard that, I was just like, okay, you can check out issue 8 at sharetheshock.ca/issue-8. But I heard that and I reflected, and I'm just like, okay. And there was a period in my life where I would have been like, I might have been offended or
You've
taken
been like,
it the
yo,
wrong
fun
way.
this guy.
Yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, what are you saying? Like, you know, but I looked at it, I'm just like, okay, if you want to involve if you want to involve the people, it's not necessarily going to be just by way of them writing. They're going to give you their opinions, and you might not agree, but address it. And I went back and I looked at all of the issues, and I'm just like, okay, I see, like, I see a growth and development. Like, if you go to sharetheshock.ca/archives-2, you'll see every single issue of Culture Shock that's ever been released.
Right.
You'll see the first one I didn't do. The first one was done by another gentleman. We have since parted ways in the business, but I took it upon myself to continue the magazine because it was something I wanted to do even before our encounter. But I was working more in the music, the video and audio production side.
Okay.
Yeah. So transposing that, that information to the website, I was like, all right, cool. So I went out and one of the guys I work with, he got a whole pack of fonts. So I'm like, yo, send me all those fonts still.
Yeah. So
I got like maybe 350 like different fonts now. So I'm gonna go through those and I'm gonna make sure. I remember you said a couple. There's a certain one or certain ones that I should focus on. But like part of it is like I wanted to show like a difference in each story, kind of thing, like a subtle difference. That's why some of the fonts were different the way that I had them. But I hear what you're saying too. Like consistency makes for a more fluid read.
Exactly. Because as you're going through page to page, you're like, okay, like there's something that people can expect every time that they come and they check out your magazine. And I mean, they could expect the randomness that you're showing also, but it might come across like ransom note-ish. If you know what I mean? Like, yo, give me your money. But you know what I mean? So like I was saying that because even in my own experience as a designer, there's a lot of critique and criticism that I'm open to be honest. Like I like constructive criticism and critique because it helps me grow as an artist and it helps me grow as just a tech-minded individual. Because like one of the realms that I'm diving into right now lately is blockchain technology. And when I go to explain blockchain technology to other people, like when you get into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that type of stuff, is people will have questions for me. And if they didn't ask me those questions, when they asked me those questions, I probably wouldn't go and do the investigation myself. I'd be like, okay, well, I'm good. I know what I know. And you know what I mean? But until you do that, you don't actually know, what's the saying? You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is growth.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And one of the things, even with those investments, it's something that we have to kind of get across to people is that we got to invest in ourselves too. Like we have to invest time, we have to invest energy, we got to invest those same resources that we're putting out into other people, into other businesses. We got to invest in ourselves to make sure we have the foundation to move forward or to build up.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you were to suggest an investment, now I have to give a disclaimer. In no way do we at Candid Conversations think that you should directly apply these informations. However, we are discussing them for the purpose of enlightenment and possible growth. So that being
Right.
said,
Yeah.
talking about investments, what would you invest in right now, like outside of your person? Like what brand, what business, what industry?
Information,
Okay.
knowledge. I would invest in just learning everything that I could, because like we have resources at our disposal that we didn't have even 15 years ago. You know what I mean? I haven't gone to college. I know that like people don't really see that as something like, oh, well, you can teach yourself that. But then when I give them the same equipment or the same stuff that I have, they'd be like, oh man, like that's too confusing. And I realized that, oh, okay, like the time that I've invested into learning all of these things and the steps and the trials and the failures, and believe me, there have been failures, they all account for something. You know what I mean? So I would say the thing that I would invest in first and foremost, over and above anything else, is knowledge and
Okay.
the sharing of knowledge, because knowledge is something that is it provides us with generational wealth, because I feel like that's something that just as Black people in general, we came in on a back foot on in this country, being most of us a first or second generation to Canada. We don't have that generational wealth, whether it's that the grandparents sold their house and blah blah blah, and passed down money down through the generations. But one of the generational wealths that we can share is knowledge, and doing the knowledge of yourself also. So introspective, like reflection, like that type of stuff, I think is very, very important. When it comes to some type of a tangible or financial investment, I would say do your research on where blockchain technology is going to take us in the next century. I was going to say decade, but century. I think that when we come into the age of artificial intelligence and things moving as fast as they have been already moving so far, that it's going to be playing an integral role into the development and the security of our how we do business, our contracts, and all of that. I think that's all I can give you right off the top of my head, though.
That's good. That's in depth. That is, because I've been hearing a lot about it. NFTs, I believe, is one thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, non-fungible
Non-fungible tokens. Yeah.
tokens. Yes.
Yeah.
That is like, I want to make one of those, in the sense of I want to have a moment in life so great that you know what I mean, they want to frame that shit and sell it to the highest bidder. That's one of my goals.
And you can. It doesn't cost too much. Like right now, the Ethereum network is busy. So like one of the sites that I've used before is Rarible. Another one is OpenSea. OpenSea I'd probably suggest more than Rarible. But I have 4 or 5 NFTs up there. Like I obviously my name is Sean Ceasar. I go by Tongues Twisted. But when it comes to the NFT or like blockchain sphere, I go by the Onyx Rubiks. So on there I've stored some of my works that like maybe it got like 50 likes on Instagram, or it got 100 likes on Instagram. I just started looking at my work on Instagram and going like, so for what? Like just for likes, for comments? Like why not put it up there and put some, like, even if it's an asinine price tag on it, put it up there, because at least it's emblazoned in the blockchain that this is the date that it was created, it was made, and it's like putting a trademark. Remember back in the day, they used to say, take a self-addressed stamp envelope and put it in the mail, and then mail it to yourself. And when you get it back, don't open it, and that's your copyright. And da 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 da. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's essentially what you're doing with NFTs. So I know that people got on there and they were making a quick buck selling like ridiculous stuff, like actually ridiculous, like the first tweet from, I forget who it was, but stuff like that. But I think that it serves a more utilitarian purpose in that it can store information, and it's like a non-tamperable ledger of this is when this artistic work was created, and nobody else can change it or predate it.
So you're saying that I could, for example, say now, does it only work with stills, or does it work with video as well?
So it did video, but there's a file size limitation, and I don't know what that limitation is imposed by, but it was like 50 megabytes last time that I saw it. So you're not gonna put up like a movie on there, you know what I mean? But
no,
you
but
could
like
put up
some, I was gonna
video or
say,
animated GIFs, or you can even put music, you know what I mean? Waves or MP3 formats, stuff like that.
yeah, I was thinking something along those lines because I do a show.
Yeah,
Well, I do a show. I took a little bit of hiatus from that so I could refocus on, some of the more adamant production elements. But
yeah.
yeah, so conflicts of a Jamaican Canadian conscience or culture shock.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
so I was thinking I might look into putting those up online, kind of.
Well, what you can do is that you can put the so say for instance, if you're going to make the NFT and you're
Yeah,
limited to 50 megabytes,
yeah,
then maybe the trailer for it that
yeah,
is like a 15 or 20-second trailer is what the
yeah.
actual NFT is, but then there's an unlockable in it, and then the unlockable links to wherever it is that you stored it on the internet. And so you can create unlockable links, so you can create unlockable NFTs. So they would see the trailer for it and be like, oh, episode 8 or whatever the case is, I'm gonna buy this for $50,000, and then you put the when they click, when they do actually purchase it, then it will unlock, and it's hidden. It's a hidden link, but it will unlock the link to whoever the purchaser is, and that will link to, hopefully your website is still around for 50 x amount of years or however long. You know what I mean? That's the only other thing that I haven't been able to determine yet with the blockchain, is that yeah, the blockchain is there forever, but if I want to link to, say for instance, a website that this thing unlocks to, I got to make sure that that hosting is there, and I got to make sure that that domain is there for however long this is going to stay in the historical ledger, right?
So right now that puts Instagram and Facebook in a high value
Yeah,
bracket.
absolutely, absolutely, because they're stored on multiple servers around the world. Like even your stuff, when majority of the time it's deleted, it's not actually deleted. You know what I mean? I mean, nobody can
Yeah,
see it, but it's not deleted.
yeah, yeah. It's just stored somewhere where it's not visible.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, that's in depth. That
I
was I
know
can
that
tell you
that.
right now, I didn't think this was going to be the topic of conversation. Um, I, I mean, I've been looking to get involved with it, but I haven't really known enough about it. And I'm like, there's graph. I have a master course in like 8 different classes that I still have to study. So I'm just trying to
Okay.
make the time to do these things in
Yeah.
priority. It's like this just keeps nah. Look at me.
Yeah. And so see, and see, this is the thing, is that remember what we were talking about just before we went live? You're saying like certain things can be a thief of time, you know what I mean? So
Yes,
it
yeah,
like a lot of things can, it really depends on where you choose to actually allocate your time in any given day. And that's something that I've at my old age of wisdom have come to decide that, hey, I need to achieve more mastery of this. I need to be better with my time, and I'm not good at being like, yo, okay, 5 minutes, I'm up, 5 minutes is back from break. I don't do that, man, and that's why I can't do like stepping into a traditional workplace, because I could
yeah.
not for the life of me be working for myself and then come back to a place where somebody's like, hey, Sean, you know that you're back 5 minutes from your break. Your break ended 5 minutes ago. Like, I can't do that, bro. Like I
No,
would want to grab someone's neck. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not
I
that type of an individual, because I don't believe that that's our purpose on this planet. I just don't.
no,
You know what I mean?
no.
And go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, why would we be given such passion, such desire, such abundance, and then told, nah, you got to get it for somebody else.
Yeah, and you got to squander it, and then your 12-step school system, whatever it is, you know, your grades 1 through 12, like they teach you how to run on that clock. You go to school, you have your recess, you go to school, you have your lunch, you go to school, you have your recess, and then you go home. And then you get to high school and you forget those recesses, you get one lunch break, and it's a
Yep.
half an hour. You know what I mean? We're preparing you for that workforce. I think that we need to teach and explore and encourage creative expression, as opposed to teaching our kids to put on a bridle and be a workhorse. You know what I mean? That to me is something that's necessary. And I mean, what we've created here in Western society, and I say Western society because in the past few years I've traveled around the world and seen people living just different. But what we've created, it is great. It's beautiful. The fact that a pandemic has come and locked down the country, and I mean, despite whatever job Ontario is actually doing with it right now, the fact that we can actually sit at home and just order Amazon to our door, Uber Eats to our door, and we don't even, if you don't want to, you don't have to leave your bedroom, bro, as long as you've got them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a beautiful thing, but it's a gift and a curse because we move like this. We move like this. We live in such an instant gratification mess. I don't
But
know how or if or whether we could even find our way out of this.
I'm telling you right now, I came into my living room, my computer fell onto the floor. The cable that was into the computer bent and broke. I plugged the cable out, looked at it, realized I got it from Amazon, went right back to the site and ordered that bitch within like 2 minutes of it happening. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then,
exactly. And be there the next day.
yeah, it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? When everything passes with these COVID restrictions right now,
Yeah,
it's gonna be like this. You don't think that Amazon on the back end of this is building fulfillment centers in every like big geographical region so that way you can order it by the morning and you can have it by noon?
of course.
Mark my words, bro.
Your
Yo, it's
words
gonna
have
be
been marked. Your words have,
yeah,
because I'm not even gonna lie. I see the beast. I see the demon for what it is. I said,
yeah.
build some out in Niagara region. We got some open space out here.
Right, right, right,
While you're at it, build a couple of greenhouses and a couple of warm houses so that we could actually grow some fruits and vegetables out here in Niagara region and shit. Like
right,
use
right.
some of that multi-trillion-dollar profit in an area where, albeit not a third world country,
Yeah,
sometimes is run or looks like one if you go to the
yeah,
right places. And you know what I'm
right.
talking about.
Yeah, of course,
So
of course.
yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not like we don't have to leave where we are to see issue, and
Yeah,
like I, as much as I plead. I've said, you know what, we are the second largest landmass. There are places all over this country where people can be like can immigrate to
right,
and live according to their natural conditions, if you
right,
will.
right, right.
But we gotta again start looking after like the homelessness,
Yeah,
the hunger, the lack of education, the
yeah,
increase of crime. It's just like
yeah,
where do
yeah.
we
It's
and
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Uh, I was gonna say where do we start the turnaround? You know what I mean? Because that is something that is affecting or is being as an issue right now with COVID and all of the stuff that's happening. Like people don't know what to do. So like I guess what direction can they look for?
I think that we have the power more than we may think, and I'm talking mainly our generation, but I wouldn't like, and we actually are the millennials, believe it or not. But
Yeah.
the younger generation right after us, they have more of a power and more of a torch than they think we do. A lot of the boomers and the age before them, is it the Gen Xers? I don't know who's Gen X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z and all that, but it's the Gen X, I think it is that
Yeah.
because they have risen to or attained these heights in office and political powers and stuff like that, we just kind of put our hands in our pockets and like, well, the rules are the rules and that's just what we got to do. It's not that, man. Like, we can change it. You can be whatever you want to be. You can make it whatever you want to make it. We can achieve what we want to achieve, but we have to be able to look out for one other. One hand washes the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of our population has kind of unfortunately arrived here underprivileged, and so they've got a crab in the bucket mentality. So like when somebody makes it, it's not even that they don't want to check for their people, but when they were struggling, nobody was checking for them. So once they're finally made it, like, okay, well, I'm good. And then they move on to in their spaceship and they're just sitting somewhere, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they don't reinvest back in the communities to help us grow even further. Like you were just expressing right there, Canada has a crazy landmass. Ontario itself, bro, takes a day to drive out of. Like
If
a day to drive out of if you're going out west. It takes a
yeah.
day to drive out of. All of that space up there, and we're not using it for anything. And like we've been around for some time. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe by 2050, we'll start saying like, okay, hey, global warming has made that habitable zone. We can go up there because that's the main reason why I'm staying down here, yo, because it's still warm. It's still warm. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh, hey, where are you from? I'm like, man, I am from the sunny south side of South Central Ontario. I let them know straight up, man.
Yep. Straight up. Like it's
Yeah.
tropical out here. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. By comparison, right? If you were
yeah,
to go to live in Thunder Bay and North Bay, no, sir, no way.
Timmins. Oh, geez,
No,
like,
no.
I got a family out there. I talked to them. It's like by April, it's like it's still snowing. Like I swear, it was one time snowing in June. It's just like no,
Right, right. No, no, no. They're
can't
like, hey,
do
you
that.
want to come in? You want to visit? You'd be like, yeah, we could visit on Zoom
Yeah,
because
yeah.
no one
Seven
will do
hundred dollar
that.
train ride, bro. $700 train
What?
ride. Seven
From down
hundred
here to Timmins?
from here to Timmins,
That's not worth it.
bro.
That's not
It's
worth it.
for who it is. It's worth it, but like I'd rather drive because for that
Uh,
$700, I can fill my tank at
for
least
that
10 times.
for that $700, you can drive down the street to the Niagara District Airport and bribe a pilot to fly you the hour that it will take him to get you from here to Timmins. That's wild, man. That's wild.
For
Holy.
real, for
Yeah.
real. Yeah, so that's just it's just one of those things. And so that shows you how much landmass we actually cover. So yeah, if we were to use that to our
Absolutely.
advantage,
Absolutely.
come
But
on.
you know what? I think that for where our culture has managed to expand to in the amount of time that it's managed to expand, like think about it, segregation wasn't something that ended 100 years ago. We're barely 60 years on this. Like we
Barely.
just got in. We just slid in the door. I think about that a lot. I'm like, man, like we barely made the cut because if I was born 60 years before this, I don't know if I would have known what's up, man. You know what I mean? Like we barely made the cut. And when I first moved to St. Catharines, I found out about I because I mean I grew up in Toronto and stuff like that. So Black History Month, first of all, was just a thing in Toronto. Like I just knew
Yep.
about it, but I didn't know that Black History Month. Not that it ended in Canada, but that the Underground Railroad, like that St. Catharines was the end of the Underground Railroad. Like, and then I found out that Harriet Tubman had took up fellowship and worship here, and she has a school and a statue up here and stuff like this. This is all stuff that
Church
was
too.
erected, a church. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I was like, wow, like there's so much Black Canadian history in our region that we don't speak about at all. You know what I mean? Let alone have the real community out there. Because I mean, if you tell people in Toronto to come out to St. Catharines, they're like, no. Like, I got white friends that go up to Brock University, and that's it. Like, like.
Yep. Yep. No,
So
I've been out here for about 10 years now. 10, 12 years
okay,
now.
okay,
And I only go back because I have family up there. People are like, oh my goodness, why did you move from Toronto? It's like I'm like literally my native zodiac sign or
yeah,
indigenous zodiac sign is a
yeah.
salmon. I look at all of those. It's like one's a salmon, one's a rat, one's a crab. I don't like the eastern one because I'm not a rat, but I do store shit all the time. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I store shit, not save it, and I have been known to burrow through a wall or two. But
Straight.
but that's about as far as it goes. But yeah, so I naturally go against the grain. Like even in high school we had to wear uniforms when we were doing band productions, right?
Right.
So we had to wear a white shirt and black pants.
Yeah.
Bro, I wore everything but. I wore a blue and gold, I wore black and gold, I wore silk red, I wore silk black, I wore I wore one with dragons on it. I wore
To let them
like
know.
yeah, champagne, you know what I mean? Every color.
Yeah.
And we did 5 to 8 performances a year for 5 years.
Oh wow. And
yeah.
nobody pulled your card on that? Nobody was just like, hey. The hell is that? But wait, that was in Toronto, right? That was out
in
Toronto.
Toronto by the third
Okay.
by the third year they had gotten used to it. So finally I decided in the final year I'm just like I'm gonna fuck with them. So
Yeah.
I actually wore the white shirt, and that's when everybody was just shocked and awed. They're like, "You mean you actually own a white shirt?" I was like,
That's good though. You didn't conform. You didn't conform. You know what I mean?
No,
but when you came out these ways, did you notice like was race an issue to you when you first moved out these ways? Especially 10 years ago? Yeah, was race an issue to you?
Yeah. Okay. I think I don't know if it was race entirely because I have a very dynamic situation, okay? Just to give a little bit of background, I am what 6'3", 290, 280. My wife's 5'4". She's about 5'4". Like she's literally like I'm almost two of her.
Yeah.
So people see us and they're just like they assume that it's me. It's not, bro. It's not. She the dragon, I'm the king. I didn't even slay her. We just have some shit going on. We have an arrangement.
Chemistry. Right.
So I was a little bit of a disturbance the first time. But again, because I was a disturbance in the sense of I was working on my sound system, and someone from the community came over to me, and they just happened to be a different color. You know what I mean? But I could see where my fault was in that situation, and I tried to make a joke of it, but they didn't take my comment as a joke.
Right.
They're like, I can hear your music all the way around the corner. I said, good. That means it works. And I was about to turn it. I was turning it down as she approached. Right. But then she got all snotty and crotchety with me. So she and my neighbor, fast forward to a fun fact later, she and my neighbor worked their magic to get us booted from the community.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. Now, like you see, I told you in high school, I don't conform. Right. So like literally in the morning, first like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm DJing out the window. Morning, everybody. Welcome St. Catherine's to the Block Show.
No, hold on. You were DJing and MCing in the morning?
In the morning, fam.
And MCing, you're on the mic.
On the mic, talking to the neighborhood, talking to the community as they're going to school and going to work and shit. Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So fast forward, we actually decided to move. They got their judgment or whatever. We moved. We had another place in mind. And even there, that's when I think race was an issue. Because it's a traditional town. I'll call it a traditional town. And hope you catch what I'm putting down. You know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not entirely a traditional person. So in that situation, like I come out here with my rambunctious, boisterous nature, and they're a timid, reserved community.
Right.
So they don't want all that attention. They don't want the smoke, so to speak.
Right.
Well, 6 people tried to get me kicked out. Not one of them live here today.
Wow. And
my wife and I took the property to court.
Yeah.
And they were pretty much forced to put over, I heard the rumor mill was it was upwards of $2 million in renovations on the whole property.
Wow.
Yeah, man. You're talking to a brother who's changed legislation.
Wow. Wow. Seriously, that's crazy. That's
man.
Holy.
So, and I look at it, it's like, if I could do that, what if 2 of us work together? What if 5 of us work together? What if, you know what I mean? What I did after I won a judgment, the judgment was I photocopied my my affidavit.
Right.
And I went to 15 different houses that were having similar problems, and I gave it to them.
Oh,
I gave them the blueprint. I said, fill in this issue right here.
Right.
Based on this law right here, and this is where you put your problem. This is where you put what you want the solution, and this is where you put what you think they should do.
Right.
And like I became a problem. They tried to. Oh man! Then the management tried to kick me out.
Oh, so because you're ruffling feathers at that point.
Yeah, bro. So like, I don't know if it's because they named me David, or if they raised me biblically.
The man said they named me David. He's going up with it. Y'all have 2 stones, and I ain't throwing one yet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know. Actually, I don't know, because my mom told me David was a whore and a mongrel too. So.
Oh wow.
Wow. That's from my mom, Dukes, bro.
So, a whore and a mongrel. Damn.
Yeah. So it wasn't until he changed his ways. So. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, there's so much. And so to answer your question, it was, but I rose above it. Like I had one really ugly scene. And I don't mind talking about it. I went to get a peace bond because my neighbor came at me, and I was just like, no, I don't want to do it like that. I'm gonna rise above it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do better. So went out. That didn't work. So I had to just keep my distance. But then he'd always have people over. He had his cousin over. He had his cousin's friend came over. They'd party outside the window. So one time I just went outside and just like, y'all don't even live here. And I'm telling you, I lost it, bro. There was no attempt to contain the inner nigger, if you will.
Inner nigger,
no effort. And they filmed me. So that's when I put on the real show. So let me get this straight. You're gonna come to my house where I live and film me on my porch, and you don't even live here. They tried to take that. They tried to take that to court to get me kicked out. They ended up getting kicked out.
Oh snap!
Yeah, bro.
Oh snap! Yeah. I can't.
Yeah. So we just have to learn the law. That's it.
Yeah.
Once you know, they can't take that from you.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier. And there's situations where I think people refuse to learn because they want to believe something that applies or caters to their ignorance. Like speeding. We know we can't go over a certain speed. We'd be ignorant to be going over that certain speed in a certain situation and not expect consequence.
I'm gonna let you know I speed daily, regularly, with impunity. I speed on the QEW, the 401, the 406, the 420, the 410. If I don't go to Brampton actually, so let me take the 410 back down. But I speed regularly, and it's just because the car just moves like that. I don't even think about it anymore. And I think that they must have seen me on the cameras, on the OPP cameras, and they're like, you know what we're gonna do here? We're just gonna raise that limit on the highway. Just kick it up to 110. It doesn't even make sense, man. Why? Look at the man. He's up there at 160. We can't get that car off the road because we got to catch him first. So just bump the speed limit up a little bit.
They just gave it to you, eh? They just gave it to you.
I guess seeing things like that. Yo, I've been loving this conversation, brother.
Well, I remember you said you have a time limit, so let me not keep you too long. All right. Thank you for coming out. Is there anybody you want to shout out before you head out?
Shout out all the creatives out there, everybody that's creative, everybody that's locked up, cooped up in their creative crooks right now, creating in their basement or creating in their home studios or whatever. Shout out to all of you guys. I hope that we get back out there and we get to share some of this creative expression with everybody and that's in our lives. If you want, you can follow me on any of your social media channels. I'm at Tongues Twisted everywhere, TUNGZ Twisted everywhere, ZZ, I don't know, Twisted everywhere, and Frame 5 Media at Frame 5 Media or www.frame5.ca.
All right. That is blessed. Thank you for your time. We have been talking to the multi-award winning, multi-talented Sean Ceasar. Hopefully you'll come back another time and touch base with us. Let us know what's going on with your latest projects.
Absolutely.
And all of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, sir.
No problem, fam. All right. Bless up.
Peace.
All right. So this has been another episode of Candid Conversations. It's been a short episode of Candid Conversations because these weeks have been moving pretty fast and we got a couple of things behind the scenes that we're working on and developing. So I want to shout out the Wifenger for holding it down as usual, the Scout for being around. She's doing well with her schooling. We just got a new affiliate, Lushy Bantan, and you can check out Lushy, LUSHYBANTON.com for more work from him. Shout out to Fallon for jumping in the chat. Who else? Jay for, helping with the things. He's not here right now, so it's just me steering the ship. But other than that, instead of me here rambling and ranting on, unless you have something you want to throw into the chat, I'll give y'all a couple of minutes. But if there's something y'all want to show and throw into the chat, by all means, donations are welcome. Feel free to forward funds to sharetheshock@gmail.com. If you'd like to contact us to inquire about appearances, info@sharetheshock.ca. If you're in the area, $40 can get you a full bag of produce. Check out Small Scale Farms, or pay what you can as well. Info@smallscalefarms.ca. Tell them Block sent you. He would say to you, because on issue 8 of Culture Shock magazine, we do have FX May Vary. Kyle and Charlotte are featured on there. FX May Vary can be found at facebook.com/FX May Vary, and check out their YouTube. It's Flamehoof. YouTube.com/user/FLAMEHOOF. The Exposed to North website and Culture Shock website is at sharetheshock.ca. We also have Tough Talks podcast that happens after, or usually before the pay-per-views, and we'll say Sunday or Mondays. The schedule kind of fluctuates, but you can catch us on Twitter, twitter.com/Tough Talks Pod, and tillyandtheblock@gmail.com if you have anything that you want us to talk about there. Mr. Billboard, Johnny Armani, is available at instagram.com/TheRealJohnnyArmani. Check him out. And you can join Restream.io with a discount on us. Check out Restream.io/join/ZM1R2. We will be syndicated on Liquid Fire Radio, so shout outs to Christy Hales, the founder of IndieRocks.ca. That's www.indie-rocks.ca, and donations are welcome as well to go that way at IndieRocks1@outlook.com. You can also follow the Upper Space on Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Upper Space, and check out their Facebook, Upper Space Music. Speaking of music, Dispel has their album special. Check that out on dispelmusic.com. Tell them Block sent you. All right. And also follow their Twitch, where Scott does spin 3 times a night. Sorry, not 3 times a night, 3 times a week at night. I believe it's 9 p.m. You'll know more if you follow www.twitch.tv/dispel_music. Also, check out Exhibit 1 Productions on Facebook. Oh, man, we got a whole list here. So we're gonna close it out after checking out. Okay. Yeah, Justice for Black Lives. Check them out at Justice4 Blacklives.com if you need an advocate for issue involving racial inequity or injustice. But also check out Big Joe's info, sharetheshock.ca/Big-Joe. Excuse me. Fally Saves the World is the Instagram for Fallon Shaw, another advocate of all kinds. So contact her. And when the shows do start back up, you can guarantee Livestock Niagara is going to be hosting one of them. Facebook.com/Livestock Niagara. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be closing this off. Again, if you'd like to reach out to join the podcast, info@sharetheshock.ca. And if you'd like to check out what's going on the website, check out sharetheshock.ca. This has been The Block, talking his walk. They a dog playing his part. Effervescence with a heart. All the best.